Well, hello, family and friends. Hello. It is Wednesday, 5:30, which means we're getting ready to do midweek motivation with Chris Wilson. Yay! uh, so good to be back again another week. It's always an honor to be able to do midweek motivation. So today, for my shout out, I want to mention my husband, Andrew Wilson. Let me tell you, he preached on Sunday. My goodness. The topic of his sermon was, "My dream is my path. Your dream is my destiny." Right. You all have got to hear this message. So I posted it on his YouTube channel, and I put a link to his channel on my Facebook page on Sunday. But I will repost the link to his YouTube channel again today when I upload this video. It was a really good message, and I think that everybody should really take a minute and just listen to that video to help answer some things, to help straighten out some things, and why our dreams aren't coming to fruition the way we think that they should, and as fast as we think that they should. So listen to his video. So let me see. Oh, something that I want to ask you to do for me. Whether you're watching the live recording or whether or not you'll be doing the replay, I think it would be cool if you put in the comment section the city and state that you're watching from. I recently connected with Minister Charlene Mullins, and I believe she's from Tampa, Florida. And I just think it's really cool to have people watching, and just to see where they're watching from state to state. So before you leave the broadcast, either the live or the replay, put in the comment section where you are watching from. My next door neighbor, Joanne is watching. Hey girl, it's good to see you watching today. That just shows how nervous I am. I called you Joan. I know you, Joanne. So yeah, I just think it's really cool to see where people are tuning in and watching the Midweek Motivation with Chris Wilson from. So before you leave the broadcast, either live or on the replay, post in the comment section the city and state that you're watching from. Thank you very much. And don't forget to hit the share button. Share it out and let people in your friends list know that I'm on, and maybe they'll tune in and start watching. So last week I spoke about, I didn't speak about, but last week I just briefly mentioned consecration, right? I briefly mentioned it. But since mentioning it last week, that word has just stuck with me throughout the rest of last week and into this week and straight through to today. So we're going to continue in that vein with this week's motivation, right? So Brenda Malloy, hi Brenda. You don't typically watch live. Thank you, Brenda, for being able to jump on live today. So consecration is defined as dedication to the service and worship of a deity, and in our case, service and worship of God. It is defined. Mary Figures is watching. Hello. How are you, Mary? Thank you for watching. And again, as you all are jumping on, I think it would be really cool if you would post. And Kim Jones is watching. I just love this. Kim Jones. Let me tell you all a little bit about Kim since she's watching. I have to really shout her out. Kim Jones is one of the co-founders of the LIFT conference. LIFT stands for Ladies Intentionally Following Through. Ladies Intentionally Following Through. And the whole midweek motivation started as a result of LIFT in 2017. They will be doing LIFT again in 2018. It will be the last weekend in September. It's up in the Poconos. I will post the link to the LIFT conference once I upload this video, so you all can go out and register for that conference. I'm telling you, ladies intentionally following through. Thank you, Kim. She posted in the comments September 18th through the 30th. that doesn't sound right, 28 through 30. September 28 through 30 is the dates for the conference. But yes, we will make sure all the information gets put in the comment section once I upload this video. So yeah, this is wonderful. And again, if you're just stepping on, I'm asking that you all post in the comment section the city and state that you are watching from, because I think it's really cool to see, where people are, where you live. Thank you for the thumbs up, Kim. So yeah, we're talking, I was given the definition for the word consecration. It is defined as dedication to the service and worship of a deity. And in our case, it is the worship of God, right? It is the solemn dedication to a special purpose or service, usually religious, being set apart for a particular purpose for a particular reason. That is the definition of consecration. So we have the Poconos join. Yes, we have Houston, Texas on the line. We have Lisa Miller, my cousin, is on the line. Yes, thank you all for watching. So yeah, in the motivational space, the motivational speaking space, sometimes we kind of veer away from the foundational principles of what we're doing and why we're in this lane in the first place. And for me, it is the spiritual component. That is the most important component for me, being called and appointed, and excuse me, and how everything we do should bring glory and honor to God, right? That's why I intentionally speak a lot about God's call on our lives and the things that He has created us to do, and as opposed to just motivating the individual, right? Because motivating individuals in and of itself, we can't do nothing in and of ourselves, right? So everything that we do has to be with a connection with our Creator. So today's motivation is entitled Gifted and Given. I like to pause when I give my title so you can think about it. Gifted and given, right? We have all been gifted and given. We don't just evolve. We don't just arrive. We didn't just arrive, right? Our Creator, our Heavenly Father has gifted us. He has endowed us. He has enabled us, empowered us. He indwells us, and He has given us for His divine purpose and His sovereign plan, right? Now, how does that make you feel? You have been gifted and given. That's a stamp of approval right there. That is a stamp of approval. God has gifted and given you, right? That's a sense of value attached to that. Gifted and given. I love it. So with this whole thoughts, this whole consecration aspect added to the dialogue of motivational speaking, the motivation is to live a life that is pleasing and glorifying to our Father, to the Creator, to the one who breathed the very breath of life into our bodies, to the one who, listen, He had a dream, a vision, and a goal. He had plans and a desire for your life before the very foundation of the world, before you were even formed in your mother's womb. He had these desires for you. Before the very foundation of the world, God had a plan for you and for me. Hi, Shelly Lynn. Thank you so much for watching. Shelly, put in the comments section the city and state you're watching from. I'd love to see. Thank you. So yeah, He had a plan before the foundation of the world. He had a plan for you and for me. Just the thought of that, just the very thought of that should make us, stand up and pay attention. We have been gifted and given. So as we think about the word consecration, the solemn dedication to a special purpose or service, right? What have you been created for? What have you been consecrated to do? What have you been set aside to do? What have you been anointed, called, and purposed, and intended to do? There is a specific reason for you. Specific, because you have been gifted and given on purpose, intentionally. That is the press and the thrust of this week's motivation. We don't want to just live our lives haphazardly, just going about along as if things don't mean anything, right? Because in truth and reality, everything means everything, right? Everything means something. Everything that we touch means something. And what we think, say, and do has an immediate impact on everything else that we touch. Everything else and everyone else that we are engaged with. It has an impact, has an immediate impact in some way or another, either for the positive or for the negative, right? Everything means something. So being intentional about living life to the full, we have to factor into that intentionality that we are not our own. We are not our own. We've been purchased with a price. That price was the precious blood of Jesus Christ, and we belong to him, right? Our steps are ordered, and we can seek him in all our ways. And when we do that, he said he would direct our path, right? He will direct our path. So in this whole arena that we're in, the fallacy in some of our thinking as it relates to living on purpose and being in our swim lane and in our sweet spot, one of the fallacies to that whole line of thinking is that we have to do something on a grand scale, right? Or we have to be doing something in the public eye, or we have to be doing something monumental and fantastic, and almost like we have to be a celebrity, right? You have to be the pastor of a mega church, or you have to have YouTube followings in the hundreds of thousands of the viewers there, or you have to have a Facebook page with 5,000 friends. I think 5,000 is the max for Facebook. Well, no, that is a fallacy and it's not the truth. The thing is, in being consecrated, being chosen and anointed and set aside and following God's purpose for our lives, that means that in our everyday, in your day-to-day activities, in your everyday, ordinary life, you are allowing the Spirit of the Lord to lead, guide, and direct you, right? I have some people joining. Hi, Ralph Nickens. Thank you so much for joining. That's either Ralph or Grace. Thank you for joining. And I have Ada Sanchez. Thank you so much for watching. She said, on the train, we'll catch the replay. Awesome. Thank you so much. And listen, when you catch the replay, and even for those who are live right now, if you put in the comment section your city and state that you're watching from, it would be great. I would love to see where you're from. Thank you so much. So, so just being about your everyday activities, right? You're being obedient to the Spirit of the Lord. You're doing what he says for you to do, right? You are following the path that he has set before you. And that is the long and short of it, of being consecrated. That's the long and short of it. Nothing added, nothing taken away. Being in the center of God's will is the place of success, right? That's the place of satisfaction and great joy, and is so very, very rewarding. Hi, Beverly Johnson. Thank you for joining from Atlanta. Thank you so much, Beverly. Good to see you again. Just being in, knowing that you're in the center of God's will. Yeah, it is very, very rewarding. It's just knowing that we're in his will in our everyday life. We're doing what he wants us to do in our everyday life. And Minister Charlene Mullings is watching. Thank you, Minister Charlene. I believe Minister Charlene is from Tampa, Florida. Yay! If that's not correct, please drop it, your city and state, in the comment box. Good evening. Good evening. She says good evening. Just knowing that we're in the will of God, that equals success. That equals success. And listen, when you know you're in the will of God, that it equals success, but it's also the epitome of the definition of being consecrated. So let me read to you Romans 12:1-2. It says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God, unquote. But let me read this to you from the Message Bible. Well, this is going to blow your mind. From the Message Bible. Quote, so here's what I want you to do. God helping you. Take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Embracing what God has for you is the best thing you can do for Him. Wonderful. Don't be so well adjusted to your culture that you fit yourself into let me start that over. Don't be so well adjusted to your culture that you fit yourself into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you. He develops well-formed maturity in you. Unquote. Shoo, wow. That's good stuff right there, right? That is some good stuff. That's Romans 1 and 2 from the Message Bible. I love it. And so, yes, sometimes I need to bring this to the table too. Sometimes being successful and being in the center of God's will cost you. And sometimes it could cost you a lot. Sometimes it will cost you relationships because others don't quite understand what you're doing. They don't quite understand what God is saying to you. Okay, that's going to be okay. They need to follow their path and you need to follow yours, right? So sometimes it may cost you depletion of your bank account. It just may do that. Sometimes it will cost you some sleepless nights as you prepare, as you pray and prepare for those things that God has set aside for you to do. It will cost you sometimes. It just will. But the reward, Renelli Williams is watching. Wow, I am just elated today. Renelli Williams is one of the other co-founders of the Lift Conference. Renelli, Kim Jones is also watching, so I've already shouted out the Lift Conference, and we're gonna put all the information in the comment box. So when I upload this video, we're gonna put all that information in there so that people will know all about the Lift Conference, Lift 2018. It's a conference that I believe every lady needs to be a part of. If she needs some assistance, somebody to come alongside to help her with the entrepreneur world and being in your swim lane and figuring out what it is that God has created us to do. As I said before, this is how these midweek motivations got started as a result of my attending the Lift Conference. So yeah, hi Renelli, I'm so grateful that you have joined. So yeah, at the end of the day, you want to hear God say, you want to be able to say to God that I believe I have done exactly what you asked me to do today, right? I want to be able to say that I believe I'm in your will. I have done the purposes that you have set out for me for this day. And being able at the end of the day to say that with all good conscience, it's priceless. It's absolutely priceless. You cannot put a price on that. That's where we all should be pressing towards. And that's what our goal should be, our aim. That should be the mark, our target to apprehend that, to be apprehended, to apprehend Him, the one who has apprehended us. That should be our target. That should be our goal each and every day. So to know that you're in the flow of God's purposes and plans for our life, there's no greater place. My sister Isabel is watching. Thank you so much for watching, Isabel. Hey. So there's no greater sense of joy. There's no greater sense of accomplishment. And listen, it's like an addiction. There's no addiction that feels better than knowing you're in the will of God. And yes, just like an addiction, that feeling will keep you running after Him. Okay, it will keep you running after Him because you always want to be right there in God's presence. You want to know that you are on track and you are functioning according to His plan for your life. Just get high on the things of God. Just high knowing that you are doing the things that God has called you and created you to do. High in the spirit, right? That's a wonderful place to be. That's where I strive to be every day. Every day I strive to be in God's plan for my life, right? So as I close today, I want to say again that the topic for today, I just forgot it. The topic for today was gifted and given. Each of us have been gifted and given, right? So as a part of consecration, we have been set aside, We have been appointed and anointed and called and positioned and placed where we are for a specific reason. We have been gifted by God. We are the gift that He has given to the world. We have been gifted and given. We need what you have, and you need what we have. So as we give and take, as we do what we have been created to do, then no parts of the body will go lacking, right? I love it. So, as I close today, I really hope that the motivation has caused us to elevate our thinking about what we do, right? We have been gifted and given on purpose, in purpose, intentionally. Listen, you are an important part of the grand scheme of things, right? God has need of you. God, He has a specific purpose and a plan for each one of our lives. And I am excited and ecstatic about the fact that we are all waking up to that very truth, and we're beginning to get engaged in those things that we have been created and anointed and appointed and gifted and given to do. So thank you all so much for watching today. God bless you. And again, in the comment section, shout out your city and state that you're watching from so we can all know where we're coming in from. I think that's a wonderful thing to do. And don't forget to share out this video. Thank you again. And as I always say, make this your season to live out your reason. Be authentically you. I love you guys, and I will chat with you next week. Bye-bye.